Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you guys have had a good week, and I hope you're off to a good start for the weekend. Labor Day weekend this weekend, and so I hope everybody's well and they're have some good plans to spend some time with family and friends this weekend. So I wanted to continue with a short devotion today. We're going back to the pastor's message from Sunday. He used the letters Cal RPS, and we were studying the story of Abraham and Isaac. And so today we'll continue that. And I just want to touch on something that stuck out to me, and it was mainly around the O or around obedience. And so I just want to touch just briefly today on some of the scriptures that kind of a theme that stuck out to me in the message. And so want to talk about here I am today. So the message came from Genesis 22, and so let's look at a few scriptures on something that really stuck out to me from the message. So the message clearly was about Abraham and Isaac and how God had asked Abraham to take his son up onto the mountain, to tie him up, to put him on the altar, sacrifice him. And so as we look in the very first verse of chapter 22, it says, "And it came to pass that after these things, that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am." So Abraham says to God, "Okay, God, here I am. What is it that you're getting ready to ask me to do?" And so you know that God tells Abraham what it is that he needs to do, and Abraham simply is obedient, and he takes action and he goes and moves on what God has asked him to do. But I want to take note that he said, "Here I am." So if we look in verse 7, it says, "And Isaac," now they're at the point to where they're on the mountain and Abraham's getting ready to move forward with making the sacrifice of his son. And it says in verse 7, "And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, son," or "Here I am." He said, "Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" So I want to take note here. I've underlined it. "Here I am, son." So we have God who's spoken to Abraham, and Abraham said, "Here I am, God." We have his son who's spoken to Abraham, and Abraham said, "Here I am, son." And then so we know that it comes to the point to where Abraham is raising the knife to go forward with the plan of the sacrifice of his son, because that's what God called him to do. He's being obedient to God's plan. And we see what happens in verse 11. It says, "And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I," or "Here I am." So a third time we see that he says, "Here I am." And so I want to just make the point today that Abraham was obedient. When God called upon him, he says, "Here I am, God." When his son called out to him, he says, "Here I am, son." And when they called out to Abraham, the angel, to stop him from the action, he says, "Here I am." So he was present, he was there, he was willing, he was responsive, he was listening to God each step of the way. And so I want to make the point today that when we're talking about being obedient, God is always going to bring blessing in our life when we are present. So if you think about your family, and if you have a son or a daughter and they call upon you, it's important that you are present and you're there and you say, "I'm here for you," right? Same as when God speaks to you in your life and says, "Hey, it's time for you to act." You say, "Here I am. I'm ready. I'm listening." So if we look on, we talk about being obedient. Verse 16, this is where it tells what God promises Abraham because of his obedience. In verse 16, "And said, By myself I have sworn, said the Lord, but because thou hast done this thing, because you've been obedient and hast not withheld thy son, your only son, you were willing to give him as a sacrifice. Because of that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and the sand which is upon the sea and the shore." That's a lot, right? "And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies." So I make the point today that when we are obedient, God blesses us. So today I'd ask you, be present when God is calling on you. Be responsive as Abraham was responsive. Um, Simply say, "Here I am, Lord. What is it that you have for me today? What is it that you would like me to do? I'm going to be obedient to your plan." And when you do that, you will see that God uh, will bless you because of that, just as He did Abraham. So, hope you guys get a little something out of that today. Here I am. Be used by God. Use me today, God. What is it that I can do for you? What is it that you have in store for me today? So, thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy some time with your family. And I hope that you'll join us at church on Sunday at 11, either in person or online. And we'll talk to you soon.